Hello, welcome to the unboxing video for the Legal Tender 2 deck. This deck produced by King's Wow Project, designed by Jackson Robinson and printed by the Expert Playing Card Company. Now, as is quite common with the King's Wow Project decks, it's incredibly detailed. These ones are produced on holographic stock and have a lot of embossed elements to them. The embossed elements are quite common with the King's Wow Project decks these days. In this case, the theme obviously focusing on the American currency, a little bit of its history too. Interestingly, printed inside and out, and I'll come back to the inside of that later on. The deck itself doesn't actually come with a seal in this case, it just comes with a little nod to the number 13, which you've seen on previous King's Wow Project decks as well. I found it quite difficult to open this deck because the tuck is packed so tightly. This seems to be because the cardstock is much thicker, and in a second you'll see a comparison of the Legal Tender 2 deck versus a typical deck, in this case the Madison Dealers, and you'll see just how much of a difference there is between the thicknesses of these two decks. Now, just like the tuck case, every card in this deck is printed on that thicker holographic stock. It makes the deck stand out and it's eye-catching from pretty much every angle. The back designs are customised variation of the Great Seal of the United States you see on the dollar bills. However, instead of the arrow and the olive branch, they're replaced by the paintbrushes and pencils, but still retaining obviously that key eagle. Now, the Great Seal with the traditional design can be found in other King's Wow projects like the Crown deck and the Continental deck. And if you jump over to my Instagram, you can see the images on those decks I posted recently as well. Now here you can see the four aces. The Ace of Spades has the prominent pip on the front and the customised Great Seal eagle in the background. The Ace of Hearts has a variation of the traditional eagle with the olive branch and the arrows. The Ace of Clubs holds the custom design Great Seal eagle, and the Diamonds has the torch from the Statue of Liberty. All the face cards have holographic imaging on them. The spades holding the Declaration of Independence, if you shine it just quite right you'll see it. The court cards in these cases all display images of important historical figures. For instance, the King of Spades here is Benjamin Franklin. The Diamonds, all of them have the Liberty torch in the background just like its ace, and some more historical figures on the courts, including in this case Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. The club courts include Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant, and the faces of the clubs all have that custom King's Wow Project Great Seal with the adapted eagle design on them. And that finally brings us to the hearts. The courts in this case feature George Washington and Andrew Jackson, and the heart's holographic image, just like the aces, the traditional eagle with olive branch and arrows. Now, this deck includes two additional cards that piece together to make an image. In this case it's Mount Rushmore, but you've seen a similar thing before with the Crown deck and the Continental deck, also produced by King's Wow Project. Now, back to the tuck case, the inside printing, a little bit difficult to catch on camera, but it's the image of a historical painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware from 1776, I believe during the Revolutionary War, the War of Independence. Not very good with my history, so I'm hoping that's right. Then on the flap here you can see the all-seeing eye, and the tiny writing is the Declaration of Independence shining at you there. On the back design, just like with the cards themselves, you've got the King's Wow Project variation of the Great Seal of the United States, the eagle that has the paintbrushes and the pencils on it as well. And on the bottom, the typical King's Wow Project logo, but again in this case with the holographic image and then the text to explain the deck itself. It's quite clear throughout the design where the currency, the legal tender in this case, has been the influence. Again here with the all-seeing eye from the $1 bill on the pyramid, and the Great Seal of the United States on the dollar bill, and then the customized version on the rear of the deck. Then when we flip the $1 bill over to reveal the image of George Washington, you'll see that it's the pretty much replica of the image on the King of Hearts, as is the same with all of the courts. Well, that rounds off the end of our first unboxing. Do leave comments and subscribe. I'll be making more content soon of other decks. And don't forget to jump over to my Instagram to see the images of other decks that I've already unboxed. And if you want to see videos on any of those decks I've already done, feel free to leave a comment for me. Thanks a lot.